Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for tuning in. I, of course, am Rotype, and this is Cedar Valley Redux, episode number 8. And we're just taking a quick look here at a little bit of the details that you saw in last week's episode. I realized that it was all time lapse, and even though we talked about it and it was all in the time lapse, you might not have seen some of the finer details about what was going on. So I figured we'll just take a few minutes at the beginning of this episode to just kind of show a little bit, just take some quick views over the Boiler Point Park we were just looking at. This university here, again, we built this a while ago, but I just kind of filled in these details. I especially like how this concrete wall kind of came in and looks pretty good. The other thing we worked on over here, the back end of the city, built this nice kind of secluded little cemetery in here. I still haven't yet decided what I want to do about this underpass kind of area, whether I want to build a wall or an embankment or just kind of detail it in, but the cemetery itself came out pretty well. I like that. And then, of course, most of the work last week was over here in Port McCarthy. Probably the best way to look at it is kind of at this zoom level. A lot of these details obviously didn't exist until last week, so just a lot to take in. But as I said, that was mostly last week in the time lapse, so I figured I'd just take a quick scan through in real time. You all can look at it. Obviously, there's a lot more to do still, all kinds of empty space here. But what I'm going to do this week is not anything at all related to this whole area. We've worked in the port quite a bit these last couple weeks, and I think we're due for a bit of a different episode. So what I'm going to do is actually take a big step back and work, at least initially, a little bit on these highway connections and try and figure out how I kind of want to shape the rest of this peninsula here. And the first thing I want to do actually is go in and find our 3-lane highway. I want to kind of bring this highway in. And what I'm thinking about doing is connecting it, get it on screen here just a little bit. I want to connect it in with this one. Maybe not here where they would directly connect, but up a little bit, maybe off the coast. And then what I'm thinking is probably another highway, probably a 3-way intersection here, and then a highway going this way. Probably not out the same way as this rail line, possibly a tunnel or something through the mountains and then off into this area. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. As always, this is subject to change, but we'll just get started with something and see how it looks. I do think I want to avoid these clumps of trees a bit. It's nothing, obviously, I could just go over, but a perfectly straight highway just ends up looking kind of boring, in my opinion. So just kind of do this, and actually the first thing to do, measure exactly how far this way is. 42 units. So I might actually redo this. I do kind of like the spacing that I've developed over here. Those are obviously right next to each other. What about these? These are 32. Yes, I believe 32 is kind of my standard spacing. Look here. Yeah, probably about 32 if I make it 90 degrees. Yeah, 32 meters. So I'll probably go back and clear some of this back highway out. But first things first, let's go up 90 degrees, 32, oh, come on. There we go, 32 units. And then this will be our parallel highway, and I'll deal with the rest of that later. So from here, let's see, I do kind of want to just gently, maybe even curve back around this way. Let's see about that. Come in, maybe put the apex of the curve perhaps about here. And make this just a very, very wide, broad curve like that. And let's get to, unfortunately, it's not going to let me get my angle reference from the thing I want here. 34, 32 units. There we go. And there we go. So that should be our connection here. This will go back this way. And then we'll do it again up here. 32 units. And should be 180. Oh, not quite. Or 90, I should say. It looks like, yeah, this is actually not quite the right way to do this. We'll just come in. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to bulldoze this to make the nice sweeping curve anyway. So from here, I think maybe I'll take a step back and go to this. And if this is actually the apex of the curve, I'm okay with that. I don't want it to go very much more in this direction. What I might do from here is just kind of, I should probably decide where I want the intersection to be. Probably right about here, about that. And then again, we'll go back here. 32 units, please. Like that. And take this back in. Now, obviously, again, all of these directions are off. That thing is off there as well, so we can fix that. Oh well, we'll take care of that in a minute. So let's see, if this highway kind of curves in, I'm imagining then another curve this way, and probably, yeah, I think it would look decent to have another kind of curve this way. And we'll have to invent things for it to go around. As you can see right now, it's just this flat ground, which makes no sense to curve a highway if it's flat ground, right? You might as well go straight. But as I said before, straight highways get kind of boring after a while. But to justify the curve, we'll have to put something there. And so we'll go ahead and do that in a little bit. So let's see, this one, sure. Yeah, that'll be fine. Then we'll go ahead and do the same. Actually, the best way to do this is probably just to grab it over here. 2 units, and then just kind of take this up that direction. So this may be a sharp curve, although actually, no, this is going to be our intersection, so that's fine. Our interchange goes here, and to kind of simulate that, actually, this is all going to get bulldozed later. When I actually build the interchange, we'll just do this. Okay, over here, we want to go... come on. Oh, nope, that was not right. 32, please. There we go. And then we'll take this down. And again, I'm not going to build the interchange on camera because it will take way too long, and at least in my mind, that makes for boring watching. So if somebody really wants to see it, let me know and I'll record it and put it in a time lapse, but I'll take care of that off camera. This will probably curve a little bit more. This looks like a good place to put the tunnel, but I'll deal with that. The next thing I think I want to do is actually just take this and say, how far can we stretch with our curve here? Maybe 50, 55 units? How does that look? Is this 55? Yes, good. So this is our 55 point. We'll take it directly across. Let's see, I need to turn Anarchy on to do that. And this is our 55 units. And then again, we do it this way. 55. Oh, that was 56. There we go. Then again, 90 degrees. Bulldoze all of this. Now, from here, complete our curve. Good, 55, 55, and 180. Excellent. Now, of course, I should have done the interior. I always forget that the interior needs to be done first. Now, I was going to do 55, but that looks clearly incorrect. You know, I'm just going to bulldoze this and do the interior first again. From the right-hand rule. There it is. I guess it may be 55. Well, lesson learned. Trust what the numbers are. And there we go. We have a nice, even, parallel curve. Good. And we'll still have to work on what this avenue does, and that does leave this kind of awkward, small triangle of space. There's a couple in here that I have to figure out what I want to do with, but we'll get to that. Next thing I think is over here. This one can be just enormous because it's a little bit out of town. And so how far is this total? 194. So let's see, if I make oh, I don't know, 95 units. How about that? Is that 95? Let's go to the straight tool. Yes, 95. All right. This will be our curve on this end. 90 degrees. And then I believe I measured it from this one. Is that correct? Well, let's just make sure. 95 units, yes. So actually 95 might be a little too, well, let's take a look. I don't know why I'm only getting chunks like this. That's kind of weird. 92. 94, almost. 95, good. And there we go. So we'll make our curve here as well. And I think the reason I kind of do these highways first before almost anything else is it really helps me frame the map into regions. Obviously I can design the highways any way I want, but I don't actually know how I want the map to look generally until I've got these highways kind of put in. Oh, why is it not showing me? Might be too far. Anyway, I generally like to have the highways in so I can kind of see what's going on. All right, it's not going to let me do this, so hopefully I'll get 95. How does that look? Is that off? No, that looks good. Okay. And of course I didn't do the interior one first again, but we know it is 95 at 180 degrees. 95, there we go. 180, perfect. Excellent. And there's our nice sweeping curve. And you can see here how is this a nice curve, and then even just this piece of straight highway just looks off, just looks weird. So next thing to do is this one here. Again, it looks like that is 67. You know what, that seems just fine. We'll go ahead and do it there. Remember that is 67. Because on this end, we need to go, we won't have that convenient marking. A little bit weird of a number, but just where the other curve happened to connect. 90, there we go. We bulldoze all this. Connector. That work? Yes, it did. Now, do the interior first. 68 and 66. Well, that's unfortunate. How does it look, though? Okay. Let's see how this one looks. 59 and 77. That thing didn't work right. Well, this is weird. How about from this end? Sometimes it does this weird thing. Yeah, so 69, 68. I don't understand why it does that. You think it would be the same curve, and this one actually looks good, so I'm just gonna reverse it. I reversed too many. Oh, there we go. And that looks better. I don't know what the deal was with that curve, but oh well. And again, like I said, I'll do that interchange later, but this looks like a good place for our three-way interchange. You can kind of come in from out of town, and then maybe I'll put like a wide boulevard over here if you're going into this area, but not necessarily a highway. We'll come in this way. And then, yeah, this is our way out. You'll have an interchange to go out of town, either that way or this way. And that way this can kind of become, I'm kind of envisioning a little bit of a beach area. At the same time, oh, there's all kinds of problems in town. I'll go ahead and pause so no buildings get bulldozed. I'm kind of envisioning a beach area here. At the same time, I don't know yet where I want my large skyscrapers. We may not, well, we may or may not tackle that this episode. There are a couple options. You could put them here anyway, in which case I would probably remove this beach area and turn it into some kind of seawall. You can imagine if you have the industrial wherewithal to build a large skyscraper, you're not going to leave, you know, like a beach area here. You're going to either put these kind of park walls, or probably not, these are more industrial looking, but any of the number of seawall options we have. But at the same time, I do kind of like this crescent shaped beach. So I would like to at least keep part of this kind of a beach area. So that leads me to putting the skyscrapers possibly, I mean, you could make a small area here. We could rapidly turn this highway into a boulevard. Maybe if yeah, I suppose I could take these to ground level. It would be a little tricky because they're so close to this interchange. But I could rapidly take these to ground level and then put the skyscrapers kind of back in here. A little bit of a ways off of the main, I almost want to say ocean, but it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really look like an ocean. We kind of back in here a little bit. Or I was thinking it's possible I could stick them all in here, turn this into kind of the city area, and make this side the actual peninsula. Still city, obviously, but not necessarily the big skyscraper modern area type. So I'll have to see. But before we get into that, I think the next thing I want to do, actually, yeah, I think I do want to take this down to ground level. This will be our next little project here. And the way I want to do that is actually to, I'm looking at this and I used move it here to make this intersection look a little better, but it's making everything look curved. And I guess from far away you don't really notice, but yeah, so I think the next thing to do is probably to just start moving down, and of course this one's slightly curved as well, but again, hopefully once I build everything out, it won't quite look so bad. Or we'll just zoom out and it won't look so bad. So, let's see, we have here 2, and this is going the wrong way, but you know what, we'll deal with that later. We'll run out, oh, I don't know, 25 units. That's probably enough, I think. And I do want this to be elevated the whole way. Find the slopes look a lot better that way than when you have like kind of halfway above ground or halfway grounded and the other half elevated. So actually, you know what that did? Because this is not straight, it went and skewed this off. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this, oh, that's still not what I wanted. All right, we'll go about this a different way. We'll do this one first. And you know, I'm curious how this is gonna work, but we'll give it a shot. We'll go back to 25 units. Not underground, please. We're gonna go just to the ground. And then what I wanna do is give us a 90-degree option, turn off snapping, and just come this. Now let's see what we can do about this slightly awkward looking intersection. Now if I do it right, how does that look? From afar maybe? Let's see, that's a little too much. Hopeful that I can get this without too much of a curve. You know it's too much of a curve when those arrows flip. I'd really rather not have the arrows be turned. There we go. Now the arrows are fine. Again, got this bowing, which I'm not sure. It's just a little too visible from up here. Might be able to do something about that. Let's see. What if we move? Okay, it's getting there. It might be a little too much, so yeah, there. How about now? Okay, that looks good. Now, none of these, I think, unfortunately, are perfectly kind of, well, I have this 90 degree. I was going to say none of them are perfectly 90 degrees, but this one is 90. So I think we're still okay. Now, how do we turn this highway into a boulevard? Well, we have 4 lanes, so we really only need one of these medium roads. And how does it look if we, let's see, which one do I want? Probably just one of the, oh, okay, sure, grass, fine. So this might be a little tricky because we actually have 2 different pieces of road. No, that didn't work exactly the way I wanted it to. I'm going to bulldoze this connection and that one. I am going to make sure to leave, and I'll go with the dirt just to make sure. I'm going to leave this angle in case we need to come back to it, because this should be perpendicular to the general drift of these, even though a lot of them are kind of, oh, that's unfortunate. As I was saying, that this road is generally perpendicular to the way this highway is, even though a lot of them have different directions associated with them, technically because of the interchange, or the, I don't know what to call it. It's not an interchange, not really an intersection, although I suppose the game treats it as such. But that space, the lane merging space. Alrighty. All right, that'll do. Now the tricky part. How do we turn this highway into a boulevard while making it clean and work in the game space? Should be able to, actually, you know what I really want? I'd like to be able to keep these 2 lanes and not have to use the highway ramp, because the highway ramp only has 1 lane. Let's see how well I can make this work. Probably just gonna end up, yeah, so that's not good. Gonna fiddle with move it quite a bit here, I believe, to try and get this to snap together the way I want. Now we almost had it. Yeah, there we go. Now, so this side is nice and kind of straight here. If I can mimic that. Yeah, so that's fine, except for this big old hole in the middle. And these, well, I can fix that with Graphic Manager. So with Move It, I'm trying to... Oh, almost had it. Almost had it. There it is. So there's a little bit of bowing, but I don't know, how bad is that from zoomed out? That's really not bad at all. So with Move It, I was trying to basically keep this area straight, or this edge straight. Turned out to need a little bit of bowing, but that was the goal. And then this side was, yeah, so the rest kind of just took care of it. So let's go ahead and manage this intersection. We'll go in with lane connector first and say, you're only allowed to go straight there, and you are only allowed to go straight there. And just to make sure, you're only allowed to go there, and you are only allowed to go there. Good. Now I wonder if I can change actually the lane arrows, how that's going to work. Lane 1 and 2 only want straight. Oops. Of course, I can't read what this says. The lane chair is disabled because, okay. So it doesn't let you change the lane arrows because you connected them with the connector. Well, that's fine. I guess we'll just have to live with it. Now, what I want to do is actually just bring this median right up. So how do I want to do that? That looks like a curb. Yeah. So let's find, hopefully I can find one that looks almost exactly the same. So that's the large and it's too small. I could combine them. Also might have an extra large. That's too big. Of course it is. So we'll go ahead and see how we can turn this intersection into something useful. There we go. And these are obviously going to have to be moved just a little bit. Kind of, you know what? I wish I could get rid of that. Well, I might be able to get rid of that white border. There we go. So how straight is that? Probably straight enough. Where are my... Yeah, that's the spacing I wanted. So I can just tuck this into end right there. Good. Now another one, and actually it'll be faster, I believe, to move it. Select. Props only. And give me all these. Copy them. And we'll stick these right in at the same level. Perfect. Now, for my next trick, let's pull out the, I believe we said the extra large was too big. Yes, the extra large is too big. So we just need a medium one then. Oh, it's still going to put the, if it were the same size this way, how is the, I have a small one? No, small one's not going to work either. Do I have anything that will work here? I think they're all going to leave a line. So maybe we'll just have to cover that with a tree. And speaking of trees, that's the next thing. Well, do I want trees or do I want bushes? These are the hard questions in life. Let's see. Of course, we need some of our pine trees. Whoa, that's enormous. Never mind. We don't need the pine trees. Maybe some bushes. That's even a pretty big bush. You know what? See, I was going to say I want to update this road, but that's going to mess with our lane, our junction stuff that we just did in Traffic Manager. Although what I might be able to do, let's see, it is a, there we go, trees in the middle. I'll leave this one alone so that doesn't mess with our junction. And actually, apologize for the back and forth, but I need to know what this is called. Bush number 8. Okay. So we'll go in here. I want the middle tree to be, look for bush number 8. Shady bush, plant, number tree, wheat, bush number 8. There we go. Oh, see, that is not what I wanted. I wanted it to be green underneath and the bushes on. Well, forget that. We don't need that. We need to go back to the trees. We need to go to, let's open this up. Bush number 8, please. And we'll just make a line of them ourselves. Yeah, there we go. That'll do the job just fine. And that spacing is almost okay. Let's bring this in just a little bit more. Yeah, that looks great. Now, Only remaining things I think here are a few lines. Line, whoops, if I push the right key, that will work. Line. Now I need, I believe it's this one is the one I like to use. And just a few to kind of bring it into there. And that should be fine. Take this spacing down. Actually, no, that's not fine. Let's try and make them a little more. I don't want the, yeah, there we go. That's much better. Gonna bring this in nice and even. About this. Oops, wrong button. Where is the, there it is. Still not quite what I want. That's more what I'm looking for. It's a little bit ugly if you look at it closely, but I think from afar that generally is the gist of what we're after. So we'll try to mimic that here. Kind of a little bit of a curve like this. Then in like that. And that's not quite it either. Oh, autosave. Nope, nope, that's not quite it either. All right, that'll probably do. Either that or I'll come back to it later and fix it off camera. The other thing I want to do is make the actual lane. Probably 3 of them will suffice. And I think I might just start them there. Yeah, that will do. And then from here, let's go just like this. And you know what? I am going to move some of these because they are not where I want them to be. Kind of looks like this lane here does not have enough space. And this one actually doesn't even need to exist. We'll bulldoze that one entirely. Make this a bit more straight. And unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit of hanging kind of paint, weird places, but the overall end result will look a little better. Yeah, that looks fine. Good. All right, so then, whoops. Let's turn the info view off so we don't have to see all that nonsense. And I think I'm going to put an intersection. Probably, well, actually, it might even be right here at this node. Let's go ahead and bulldoze this. And these trees. And this tree. Because I don't want to keep doing this manual placement of the trees. So I think I'll just go ahead and, how does that look? Yeah, this takes a nice little, we have this nice little neighborhood in here that we can work with. And over here, again, there's just all this space that I don't know yet what I want to do with. I suppose if this is going to be our city, large, you know, skyscrapers, I should think about it a little more and really decide what kind of road network I want to do for that. Or I should put these skyscrapers over here and I won't have to worry about it while I'm working over here. You know, it looks like there's this college here. I don't know that I want the skyscrapers in this area. I am, I think, going to go ahead and put the skyscrapers over here. That does mean there's no beach over here. How do I feel about that? I think I'm okay with that. I'm okay with there being, as you come down this final stretch of the river, you'll get these man-made walls on both sides. I think that kind of fits. And then you come into the harbor, and yeah, the beach is more elsewhere. It's not necessarily along a river. You don't really see too many riverside beaches, at least. I don't know. At least I don't, or I'm gonna say that I don't. So from here we'll go ahead and drop down to this, and I would rather maintain this kind of bush number 8 theme that I've got going on. So hopefully I haven't already gone by it. There it is, bush number 8. Now I also want bush number 8 on this one. There's 3, there's 7. Bush number 8, there we go. Let's go ahead and run this, and this will just be another street to just kind of run down. And I don't know what this neighborhood is going to be yet, but yeah, that looks pretty good. I think I like it. So, unfortunately, that is all the time I have for this episode. I know there wasn't quite as much, especially compared to the last few episodes, but I decided to make a bit of a live episode for everybody to take a little bit slower of a look at everything, and so you guys can hear a little bit of my thought process on how I build things, what I'm looking for, how I'm working on these kind of things. So I hope you liked it. If you did, please go ahead and click the like button. I'll be back next week with another one, so if you want to make sure you don't miss it, go ahead and click subscribe. Again, thank you all very much for watching. My name's been Rotype, and I'll see you next time.